Hello and welcome to Mollie's Motif. This is Emily, and today over at Crafting Desert Divas we have a new challenge starting, and it's all about Christmas. We want to see all of your Christmas cards, your Christmas layouts, anything to do with Christmas. It's going to be here before we know it. I just got back from vacation and now it's just kind of like go time. We need to get our house decorated and it's just been kind of crazy. So got to get going on all of that stuff, but I'm going to be doing a Christmas card today and just kind of show you the card that I'm going to be making. And I'm going to be pulling from Create a Critter 2, super fun cartridge, especially for the holidays. And I'm going to be using on page 73 the cute little gingerbread man. I think he's so cute, and so he was really easy to put together. I could just kind of show you here. I cut him at 3 inches. The layering is super easy. You just cut your base cut out of black, and then your shift base is out of a cream or whatever color you want kind of the frosting to be. And then your layer 1 is the brown, the gingerbread color, and then shift layer 2 is his bow and 2 little buttons. So super simple to put together, and he's just really cute. So this is the gingerbread cut that I'm going to be using. And I've also cut out 2 of the accessories. Well, just the accessory, the sucker and the little piece of candy. I did cut those out, and I cut the sucker out at 3 inches because that coordinates with the size of the gingerbread man. So whatever size you cut your gingerbread man out, you'd keep the same size for the accessory. But the little candy that I did a little bit bigger. I did it 3 3/4 inch. I wanted it to be a little bit bigger, so I cut the accessory again out of some different colors, and I'll show you that in a minute. But yeah, this is the cartridge and the cuts that I'm using, page 73. Super cute. I'm also pulling from Mini Monograms. I'm pulling the scallop cut on page 129. I love the scallop circle that they have in this cartridge, so I did cut that out. And then I'm also pulling from Elegant Edges on page 26. I've cut the scalloped border, and if you cut it at 3/4 inch, it's the perfect size to fit on your A2 size cards, and then you just have to do some trimming because it's going to be a little bit longer, but I think the proportion is perfect at the 3/4 inch size. So, and I'll kind of show you as I go through my card, I'll kind of show you more in detail of how I use those, but I did pull from those 3 cartridges. The paper that I am using, the pattern paper, is all coming from the Doodlebug Design. It's a 6x6 Home for the Holidays paper pack. I did pick this up from the Scrapbooking Queen on Facebook, and just super cute, fun colors and cute pattern papers. I'm using a few from here. So I'm just going to be starting with a base matte, just base white with a standard A2 size card, base white cardstock. It's going to open up this way, and then I am going to be following, I found a sketch from Mojo Monday, of course, I love Mojo Monday. It's sketch number 209, and I'm going to be following this sketch. I really like that one. And so my base mat that I have is just from that Home for the Holidays pack, just some green with white dots, really fun, really cute paper. And this is cut at 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then my next mat that I've got, and this is the mat that I've attached that scalloped border to, but this mat is 3 1/2 by 4 1/8. And then here's the border, and I'll just show you. This is kind of, I'll flip it over. So what I do basically is just, I just kind of find where I want, the border to be, and then I'll just put a piece of Scotch tape in the back to hold it in place, and then get my scissors and just trim the edges, and then I use my ATG to adhere it down. So once I know that it's even and everything. So basically that's how I do that. But like I said, from Elegant Edges, this border, scallop border, I cut at 3 1/4, and then you just trim it off. So, and then I've just attached that to this next mat. So it'll go down something like this, like that. And then I have another mat. It's just these peppermint candies. They're super cute. And I've cut this at 3.5 by 2 3/4. And then I've just done a shadow piece behind it. And that will go down like that. And then the next piece that I have, well, let me show you. My gingerbread man is just going to go over here somewhere. And here's the little sucker that he has, and he'll be holding that. He'll go over here somewhere. And then as far as my sentiment, I've kind of done something a little bit different. I went on my computer and just on Publisher, and I made up a sentiment. It says, "May this holiday season be so super sweet." And I made it so that it would go in a circle, and then I cut it out a few times on just some white cardstock because I wanted to play around. I wanted to give myself some options to play around with my center point feature on the Cricut. But basically, when you've got it printed out, you just put the cardstock on your mat, and then feed the paper in, and then put the blade where you think the center of that cut is going to be. And I cut this at 2 inches. I cut it out at 2 inches once I found the center point. And that's how it turned out. So I just found the center, and then cut that out. So it worked really well. And I've played around with center point quite a few times, and I've never had really a problem with it. You just kind of have to gauge where the center of your cut's going to be. And if you give yourself, more than just one try, maybe you can just kind of figure out where that center is going to be and the best cut that you can get from it. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. So anyway, I just cut that out, and I used George to cut my 2-inch circle around my sentiment, and then I did a shadow piece just at the 2 inches, and then my scallop circle is what comes from Mini Monograms, and I cut that at 2.5 inches. And I just adhered all those together. And then here's the second piece of candy that I cut from Create a Critter 2, and this was cut at 3 3/4, so that it is a little bit bigger than, if you can kind of see the 3 inches. Actually, I'll show you the little candy that I cut at 3. So here's the candy that matches the 3 inches for the accessory, and you can see that it's bigger. It's 3 1/4 inches, the green one that I cut. So, and I wanted it a little bit bigger to go in the center of my little sentiment. So anyway, yep, it just says, "May this holiday season be so super sweet." And I think that's just perfect with this paper and the candies and the gingerbread man. I think it's just so fun. So that's kind of how the front of my card is coming together. And then over on the side, just following the sketch, I've got some just some twine, and I'm gonna play around with it, but I'm gonna kind of do an angled wrap with my twine, and then put a bow in the center. So I'll play around with that a little bit, and when I come back, I'll show you how that turned out. But that's kind of what I'm thinking of doing. So anyway, this is where my card is headed. I will get it put together, and I'll figure out the inside, and I'll come back and show you how it turned out. Okay, so here's my finished card. I've got it all put together, and I really like how it turned out. I did put my sentiment circles up on 1 thickness of foam tape, as well as my gingerbread and the sucker, so there's a little bit more dimension there. And then I did wrap the twine around on the corner. There's lots of Scotch tape on the back that you can't see, but just to kind of hold that in place. And then I pre-made my bow and just tacked it down with a glue dot. So that is the front. The inside, I've just taken some of the scraps left over. I used that extra scalloped piece from Elegant Edges and just tuck that under there, and then just kind of made a simple mat. Here's the extra piece of candy left over that I had, and just tack that down. My Happy Holidays stamp that comes from a Fiskars All Year Cheer stamp set, just has lots of different sentiments for throughout the year. And I used Memento Tuxedo Black ink to stamp that on there. Just put that up in the corner, so there's plenty of room to write a little message and sign your name. And I just really like how it turned out. It's really cute. I really like that paper, that candy paper. But I hope that you were able to join us over at Craft and Desert Divas for our Christmas challenge that's going on over there for a couple weeks. And I'm anxious to see what projects you have for the holiday season. And I appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. I'd appreciate any comments or feedback that you'd have for me. You can always check out my blog. It's mollymugsblog.blogspot.com. And we will catch you next time.